You were called in as a possible drunk driver?
Face down.
This traffic stop starts with a report of a possible impaired driver, but officers quickly discover that there may be much more going on. Witnesses say this driver was allegedly crossing lanes and nearly hitting other vehicles, and now officers are trying to figure out exactly what happened. During the encounter, the situation takes several unexpected turns, including items found inside the vehicle, questions about possible impairment, and eventually a physical confrontation. But the biggest question is this: was this simply a roadside investigation that escalated, or did the officers uncover enough indicators to justify taking things further? Watch closely, because the interaction changes dramatically once the officers begin explaining what they're seeing.
I'm so glad y'all got her. We thought she was going to kill people like 5 or 6 times on her way home. She went all the way in the left lane and was head on with cars that were parked on Scenic going south. And there was a police officer on the...
Yeah, that was me.
That was you?
Uh-huh.
But she was like twirling her hair, and then she's like going like
Like not a care in the world, you know?
How's it going today?
Just trying to
Yeah? What kind of errands you running?
grocery shopping, killing bills, just adult things.
Yeah. So where were you coming from?
If we're being honest, I am on the way to pick up on my friend, and because I don't like doing things by myself because I have anxiety, so I like people coming on rides with me. So I was gonna go pick her up so I can go to the dispensary, get what I need, and then bring it back home. If you want to, I can show you my medical card.
Okay, that's a question.
Do you have a prescription for Xanax bars? No? Have you taken any? Alright. Hang tight. I can get some gloves. Because I believe they're sitting right there in the driver's seat.
For me, it pretty much stays simple to Tylenol and ibuprofen.
Ma'am, is your ID in your purse?
Yes, it is.
All right, I'll get it. I'll get it. Hey, I said I'll get it. Stand over there at the end of your car. Do you hear me?
Okay, but if you were more respectful about it, I'm just saying. All right, if we're all humans here, if you were more respectful about it, I'm just saying.
Where's your ID at? Is it in here?
Can I look for my wallet? Well, why
I
are you
got
looking
it.
for my wallet? No, the thing is, that's my property. You have no choice.
Actually, I do, because I found freaking Xanax bars on your driver's seat. If you want to explain something, explain those.
Girl, the fact that you're just looking through my stuff.
They were in plain view.
Yep.
That makes a difference.
Oh, were they in plain view?
Yeah, your butt was covered.
Okay.
Here, will you do me a favor and go sit on the bumper of that car over there?
Why? Okay, I just want to know what I was doing in particular.
Okay, the reason you were pulled over, you were called in as a possible drunk driver, and from the people that were calling in said that you hit multiple things. I haven't been to the other side of your car or really inspected your car yet to verify that, but you were found here. She's getting out with you. You were called in as a drunk driver.
At this point, the investigation has clearly moved beyond the original drunk driving call. The officers say they were responding to reports of possible impaired driving, including claims that the vehicle crossed into opposing traffic and struck multiple things. But they also make an important distinction here. They admit they have not yet fully inspected the vehicle to independently verify every part of that report. Then another development appears. The officer says Xanax bars were visible on the driver's seat. That changes the direction of the encounter because officers are now dealing with a combination of reported driving behavior and potential evidence inside the vehicle. What do you think matters more here? The original witness reports, what officers observed themselves, or what they discovered during the stop?
Okay, upon contact, she's finding things that are illegal in your car. So this is kind of the development that we're going, okay? So for right now, while she's doing her job, we're going to give her some space and we're going to go sit at the front of that car, okay?
No, I understand.
Okay. That's fine. You can, the fenders can be hot. If you want to sit on this bumper, that's probably not going to be as hot, but the fenders get hot. Ma'am? Over here, please.
But I feel
I've
like
asked
that's
you.
my car.
You're right. It is your car. Did she say yes or no? I'm sorry, she started talking. Okay. Hey, I've asked you nicely. You asked me to be respectful, didn't you? Have I not been respectful with you? And you're not doing what I asked you. Okay, would you like to sit down on the grass over there?
But can I sit down in my car?
No, you
What
cannot.
if I just have like my hands up,
No,
everything?
you're not getting back in your car. You can sit on the grass over there, or we can sit in the back of this car here, whichever one you prefer. Okay? The only thing I'm seeing is there's some scratching stuff right there.
I'm gonna get my phone.
No, you're not. You're staying right here.
Okay, but why can't I get my phone to like at least have?
You're
my
not getting
own
back in that
video-
car until they're done.
Okay, but I feel like I should be able to. It's my right to like record anything that's happening in
Everything's
my life.
being recorded right
I
here.
know, but why can't I record it for myself?
You're not going back in that car.
But why can't I record?
You can request this recording.
You can come with me to my car. My phone
Hey.
is right on that seat. One of y'all can come to me to that seat to get my car. To let me videotape, because that is my human right. That is the bare minimum y'all can do. So I can go to my phone is right there. Look behind you.
So, you have any idea why we're here?
Apparently what man's saying was I was drunk driving.
Okay, I take it you wasn't drunk driving.
No, I'm not drunk driving.
Out of curiosity, has your car always been like that in the front?
Yes, I have. Yeah, honestly, okay. What happened first? Okay, see this part of my car?
I do.
One day I came back from work, was getting off and shit.
Mm-hmm.
That was missing. No clue how it was missing. It was missing. This side of my car, we have a Chevrolet truck that's in its vintage.
Who's we?
It's my grandpa's
Gotcha.
old school Chevrolet truck.
Gotcha.
So it's it's big as fuck. And then my grandpa got a Jeep Cherokee that's also just built in the 1990s. And then they got a sidekick Susie.
Okay.
Susie or whatever it's
So,
called.
yeah.
Yeah, do I need to get that fixed?
No, I'm just curious. I'm talking to you briefly here. When I got here, I saw your demeanor, your actions, and all that stuff, okay? Now, when I talk to you even more, and I'm looking at some indicators right now, okay? I'm looking at your pupils, I'm looking at your eyes, and I think that you might be under the influence of some type of narcotic. Not alcohol, but I believe a narcotic,
I understand.
okay? So based off of what I'm seeing so far.
Now we're seeing the investigation shift again. The officer says she is observing indicators that, in her view, may suggest the driver is under the influence of something other than alcohol. Notice the wording. She isn't simply declaring that the driver is impaired. She's explaining the observations she says are contributing to that suspicion, and then asking whether the driver is willing to perform field testing. That distinction matters because an officer's suspicion and a proven fact are not automatically the same thing. At this stage, the officers are still gathering information and attempting to determine what they're dealing with. But moments later, the encounter is about to become much more physical. And this is where the entire tone of the stop changes.
Would you be willing to do a field sobriety test to dispel my suspicions that you're under the influence of any type of narcotic? You willing to do that? Okay, do you have any injuries that I need to know about? Head injuries? Have you had any previous concussions?
Not that I medically seek attention for it, yes. I mean, medical-wise, might have had a concussion, never went to the hospital.
Have you ever had a concussion within the past, let's say, 10, 24 hours?
10, 24 hours. No.
Face the car. Spread your legs for me. Face the car. Spread your legs.
I'm looking for
Red
harassment. Ooh, damn, girl. Touching the ass and shit.
Face down. I said face down. She's straight. She's good.
Can I touch my titties, bro?
It's all on camera.
Get off all my shit, bro. I mean, you guys are gonna steal my lavender?
You got her?
Yeah.
Come on. You want to try that?
Oh, you want to choke me the fuck out? Oh, you want to choke me out, girl? Do you want to choke me out, girl? Holy fuck! Oh, you really want to choke me out, girl?
This is the point where a roadside investigation has turned into a physical struggle. The footage shows officers giving commands while the woman is resisting or struggling, and her own statements indicate that she believes excessive force is being used against her. Those are two very different perspectives happening at the same time, which is exactly why bodycam footage can be so important in reviewing an encounter like this. The camera captures the commands, the physical movements, and the reactions in real time, rather than relying only on someone's memory afterward. But there is still a critical question. What happened immediately before this struggle, and what exactly were officers trying to accomplish? The next part of the footage gives more context.
Bitch, I was not doing nothing to you. You want to choke me.
Yeah.
Can you give me the vehicle 28 one more time to verify?
I thought they said they had it.
Huh?
I'll get it.
It's my grandparents' phone number because last time one of you guys took me to the mental hospital, my grandparents could not find me for weeks! Okay, and you bitch-ass officers were like, oh, you're gonna be okay, you're gonna say this is wrong, but all you guys do
You
is
have her phone with
fucking
you?
lie! Fuck-ass bitches!
That's gonna be a fun ride out there.
Yeah. Man, I can still hear her screaming. I can still hear her. Jeez.
My fucking god! I'm wasting your motherfucking time because you just need to meet your fucking quota! Ha ha ha! Fucking blue lives isn't a matter because blue lives is a fucking doctrine! It is not a fucking matter! It is not a privilege! You chose to be a fucking car! What are you gonna do to my car? What are you gonna do to my car? What are you gonna do to my car? You know what? Everything is gonna be fine. I'm gonna get bailed out. And girl, I'm gonna have a good 2 weeks. Dip out this motherfucking place, bro. I can't wait. So genuinely.
By this point, the immediate roadside encounter is effectively over, but the emotional fallout is just beginning. The woman is clearly frustrated with the officers and repeatedly expresses her belief that she was treated unfairly. At the same time, the officers have already moved through several stages of the investigation. They responded to a reported driving concern, questioned her about where she had been, discovered items they considered relevant, assessed possible impairment, and ultimately took her into custody after the encounter became physical. That doesn't automatically tell us whether every decision was right or wrong. The important thing is to separate what the footage actually shows from what either side believes happened. So after watching the entire sequence, whose actions do you think escalated this encounter the most?
Genuinely, thank you. Thank you for letting me finally be free and giving me such BS of capitalism to the point where I'm just like, wow,
Nothing really gives a fuck. Cops don't give shit about nobody but to meet their fucking quotas. And they pick and choose when they want to be nice. But like at the end of the day, whole ass.
Over here.
Oh, you're gonna tie me down, sir? Pussy ass fish, bro. All y'all want me is your motherfucking quota!
Santa Rosa, Unit 60.
Ha ha ha, Blue Lives Matter, bitch! It's a choice to be a cop, it's not a fucking life!
Yeah.
Where's
So here's the bigger picture. This encounter began with a report of potentially dangerous driving, but the investigation developed once officers made contact with the driver and reported finding medication in plain view. Officers then described additional indicators that led them to suspect possible impairment and asked about field testing. From there, the interaction became increasingly confrontational and eventually turned physical. The Bodycam gives us an opportunity to examine the sequence for ourselves: the commands, the explanations, the driver's reactions, and the eventual custody. The most important takeaway is that a situation that begins as a routine traffic investigation can escalate quickly when multiple concerns develop at once. What do you think? Did the officers handle the escalation appropriately, or could it have been de-escalated earlier? Let us know in the comments. If you found this breakdown useful, hit the like button, share your thoughts, and subscribe for more real-life body cam analysis.